What is life? It's quite a strange thing. Aside from the simple pleasures it brings, there are also some difficulties to deal with. And okay, we can prepare for these difficulties in advance, but every now and then we all find ourselves in difficult circumstances that are completely unpredictable. So, is it possible to make it out of these situations unscathed and even end up on top? The answer is yes, as history tells us. It is. In this series of videos, I'll share with you some crazy examples of the coolest comebacks in history. Part 1. Phoenicians and Dido. So imagine this. It's the 9th century BC. Egypt has never recovered from the late Bronze Age collapse and is in the midst of a crisis so deep that it's broken up into several states, part of which have been taken over by foreign invaders. Worst of all, they're no longer building pyramids. So sad. No more pyramids for my kids. In Mesopotamia, the Neo-Assyrian Empire is slowly starting to reach its status as the First World Empire, shocking even their hardcore contemporaries with their cruel treatment of conquered people. In Palestine, the rule of King Solomon is a recent memory, and now his kingdom has broken apart with forces depleted from internal rivalry, later causing them to be conquered and destroyed. Yes, mainly by Assyria. The Greeks are experiencing such a cultural decline that they have lost their right and will only be able to record Homer's recently composed poems in a few centuries' time. From there, we'll learn that they left behind cool luxury palaces with swanky frescoes of dangerous sports and Cretomessenian wives, or however you say that. And to end up where Homer's describing the king's palace on the whole island of Odyssey as a big peasant house with dirt floors and dunghill at the entrance. Depressing, right? But not for everyone. At the time in what is now modern-day Lebanon, there lived a people known as the Phoenicians. Although not directly related to modern Arabic, their language was also Semitic and most of their descendants live in modern Lebanon. The weakening of regional leader forces, Egypt and Mesopotamia, has led to a golden age in Phoenicia, at the time made up of a bunch of trading city-states similar to what the Greeks would have later on. The Phoenicians invented lots of cool stuff. The Phoenician alphabet, which served as the basis for almost all modern writing systems, including the Greek, Hebrew, and Latin alphabets, Arabic script, Cyrillic, and many more. Glass, the predecessor to the glass screen you're currently watching this video on. Purple clothing, which gave us the term we use to name the Phoenicians, because that's what the Greeks used. No, really. No joke, I'm serious. They could have at least written down the Phoenicians' own name in exchange for the alphabet. Something like, hey guys, now you can write down Homer. So could you at least learn our name as a thanks? It sounds like it requires some effort, and we're kind of a lazy slave-holding society. But we can simply refer to you as the nameless barbarians. Okay, fine. How about just the guys in purple? But the main thing the Phoenicians invented first was mass overseas colonization. Whoa, what do you mean the first? Okay, Polynesians, the first in this part of the world, you started colonizing the Pacific Ocean earlier. Fine. That works. Long before the Greeks, the Phoenicians founded colonies along the whole Mediterranean Sea. They even sailed as far as Britain, where they tried to seize a tin mine, a material necessary for obtaining the strategically important bronze. They also sailed as far as sub-Saharan Africa, where they tried to capture gorillas, who they thought were hairy and savage people, and yet they still captured them and removed their fur to take with them as a souvenir. I mean, if Assyria could shock these kind of people, how cruel was it? The most famous colony of the Phoenicians, though, was the city of Carthage, which many know as the main rival of Rome in forming the strongest empire of antiquity. But few are aware that it could also compete with them in the cool factor of its origin story. Rome's was also cool, but still, now we're talking about Carthage. So, in the most powerful Phoenician city of Tyre, which by the way still exists, there lived a princess by the name of Dido. And Dido and her father, who was the ruler of this city, had some problems in their relationship. Quite serious problems. Problems like daddy's jealous of your husband for being rich and kills him to take over his fortune. What's the deal, Phoenicians? Thanks for not skinning anyone. Actually, in some versions, the king and the husband's murderer were not Dido's father, but her brother. And her husband was not just her husband, but also her uncle. Basically, you can understand why Dido decided she had had enough and it was time to leave the relatives. Many residents of Tyre in fact went with her. It seems not everyone was into the investment climate of the kill and grab government. After a great amount of roaming, Dido and her friends found a nice suburb of North Africa, in what is now Tunisia, and Dido offered the local ruler a giant precious stone in exchange for the chance to settle there. However, the local king Yarbes clearly loved speculative real estate deals, or just wasn't very happy about the arrival of some suspicious strangers. So in response, he offered Dido any land that could be covered by one cowhide. What a cheap bastard. And remember, this was at a time when it wasn't allowed to build super skinny skyscrapers. More importantly, he kind of had a point. These people invented glass after after all. How can you trust them when they offer you an awesome precious stone? So, from Dido's side, it seemed like a hopeless situation. But the powerful mind of this woman, fueled by the desire to stay far away from her creepy relatives, came to the decision. She agreed to the terms. And then she simply cut up a hide into very thin strips and encircled the whole hill with the resulting rope. She marked the land while keeping to the terms. I don't know if the king was impressed by her resourcefulness or just scared to look like an idiot and be like, well, I expected you to do that. You didn't trick me. I knew all along you were gonna do that. What do you mean it's glass? Oh, I knew that. I have always hated that hill and I like glass. I'm not an idiot, okay? Now I will put in my drawer for rocks this shape. And what the... Why won't it fit? Basically, the city was founded. As far as the next chapter of history, Dido turned out to be a bit of a one-hit wonder. Because like I already said, the city was named Carthage, which translates to New City, and is the most common city name in history. Seriously, they are everywhere. There is one in every country. Later, the Phoenicians even founded a new Carthage in Spain. Good lord, they really were lazy at naming things. But Carthage survived Phoenicia, which was conquered some 100 years later. Yes, by Assyria. And it built a rather powerful empire which included the large territories of North Africa and Spain, and which existed for almost 7 centuries until it lost in a PvP with Rome. Basically, that's history for you. Thanks for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And until next time.